right bang in the middle of event season.
Yeah, I mean, it's events, exhibitions, all of the shows happen in the cooler months here. So we're there every week now.
Yeah, we're there every week. You've got the big events. We've just done GITEX. Next week we've got squads down in ADIPEC in Abu Dhabi. We're looking towards Arab Health in January, where we've got a few clients there as well. And what we're handling is event marketing. So we thought it would be a good time to have a chat about event marketing, because you're the person who's delivering marketing for these exhibitors. And there's lots of different types of event marketing, but this specifically we want to speak about are the exhibitions, and how companies can amplify their message through clever event marketing. And from my perspective, while I'm not delivering it, I can see that when I go to these events and I can see all the stuff we're doing on stand, and I can see the stuff that's going out in social, and it's been shared by the conferences themselves and partners, and they're getting huge number of impressions, and that's all organic. Say for instance in LinkedIn, you're the one that's actually delivering these events, so I thought you'd be the best person to speak to about what companies and brands can do to make the most of these exhibitions.
Yeah, I mean, so people are coming to us, companies are coming to us, B2B, B2C. It's not enough to show up. People put all of this budget into exhibiting, building these stands, staffing the stands, and then they're disappointed with football. They're disappointed that they didn't get more people visiting. They're disappointed that they didn't get the leads, the deals. And what we're really trying to do is educate the market. It's not enough just to show up. Allocate some of that time, some of that planning to pre-event, during event, post-event, to really maximize your message, let people know where you are, who you are, what you're doing. And, it doesn't have to be an exorbitant budget to get the results you want. And I think maybe that's a misconception. People think, I don't have the budget. You do.
You do.
Absolutely.
Because wherever your budget is, you can do something around it, whether it's about social media, whether it's PR, or whether you get the video guys in at the event, but it's worth it.
100%.
Because as you say, a lot of these exhibitors are spending hundreds of thousands on a stand, whereas it might only cost them 10,000 to do a bit of PR around it. What percentage of the budget is that?
Yeah.
What's one that's 10%?
10%.
No, I'm talking $100,000 they're spending on a stand, and we're talking maybe 10,000 dirhams, so maybe they only put $3,000 to promote it. So it seems like it's almost like it's such an afterthought. How many times do we have a client and then we find out they're exhibiting, and then they're like, oh, let's do some marketing around it. It's almost like they've got months to plan this stand. They sometimes have to book these events a year in advance, and it surprises me sometimes how they don't think about the marketing until a week before the event.
Yeah, I mean, the number of calls we get the week before. We're at this stand, what can we do? Ideally, I would love to start planning for an exhibition 3 months in advance. Get the plan in place.
Yeah.
To really maximize your efforts there, I would want at least a month's campaign to get all of the ducks in the row, to make sure that you're really achieving your targets. And I think part of the planning for an exhibition is, what do you want to achieve? It's not enough to go there and say, well, we hope it's successful. What does success look like to you? Are you targeting a very specific group of people? Maybe you only want to see spokespeople from one company.
Yeah.
And we can do that. We can do that on social. We can do that working with media. We can do that.
Specific media, specific.
Exactly.
Okay, so rewind it. So let's look at the last event. The last big one was GITEX.
Yeah.
And we had a blockchain company there, huge blockchain company called Blocko from Korea. They contacted us a few weeks before the event. I think they'd only decided to exhibit quite late, so in fairness to them, they had thought about marketing as soon as they knew they were exhibiting. What did we turn around for Blocko?
So the challenge there is they are a massive company in Asia.
Korea, yeah.
They're a South Korean company. They have just launched in this region. just set up in Dubai, and GITEX was their first show. So they were very specific, and it was refreshing. They were very specific what they wanted to achieve. They knew exactly who they wanted to speak to, and it was high level government employees and also the top guys at enterprise companies, big companies.
C-suite and enterprise.
Yeah. So ahead of the exhibition, we put out a launch release that quite clearly said they were going to be at GITEX.
Mm-hmm.
We also made sure we had enough information. They were actually demoing a never before seen blockchain system.
Yeah, it was a demo. It was a real time demonstration of blockchain working and physically. But we didn't just go in with a story, a PR story that they were going to be exhibiting. The PR story was we made it more newsworthy by going in about their funding that they'd won. Remember?
Yeah.
So it's not so straightforward as going in and saying like blockchain are going to exhibit. There's 2,000 exhibitors there, so
yeah, it's never enough to say you're going to be at an event.
Okay, so the first thing we did was we created a strategy, and then we prepared the PR story, and then we put out a press release prior to the event. At the same time, the social media team was preparing the content plan for the event.
And we made sure. Brand new social media channels, so Virgin channels, never posted before.
It's always fun, isn't it?
We had crafted the full month's posts to support what they were doing, who you were going to see, what they wanted to talk about. And everything on social media was launched 2 days before the show. So then it was very careful targeting. Who did we want to see the posts? And then sharing it among the communities that they were targeting. We also had quite a robust plan as to which media we wanted them to speak to.
Okay, so the first was a press release. The content plan was created for social. But then there was also some media outreach on the back of the press release. So there was a hit list target. So there was a 20, 30 journalists called?
So we created a hit list of 30, and they were all either technology-based media or the types of publications that these C-suites would be reading.
Okay, and were they ones that were already were they already down as going to be at the event, or were they just randomly targeted?
Some of them we knew would be there because it was in their wheelhouse. The technology trade magazines, they were going to be there. They were always going to be there. Yeah. But we invited Arabian Business down.
So the big just the business media, business media. And how many media did you manage to snare? How many did you manage to get along?
So in the end, we had 6 media interviews with our tier 1
on the stand. So they've had some media coverage beforehand. Was it good media coverage?
It was fantastic. They had 198 pieces of coverage.
Right. Okay. And then the social media was all set up and a concerted social media push out over this period, and you've managed to get 6 along to the stand. And then what else?
On the stand, at the event,
maybe
my favourite bit of event marketing, we had the content team go down, do live videos of the team, of the demo, of the exhibition itself, and then we started to post that live from the event.
Okay.
So that people who maybe didn't know they were there, if they had their head under a rock, they could see what was happening on the stand, see the people that they could meet. Ultimately, people buy from people. People want to engage with people. So putting a face to the head guy, the CEO who was there, putting a face to their technical team, they came back and said, after that first video went live, people then went down to the stand and they knew who they were looking for already.
Oh, really? Is that the feedback you got from the client?
Yeah. And, maybe if people didn't know what blockchain was, how it could work for them, on the stand, they were showing people their videos as an introduction. Because that content was very carefully crafted to tell a story. It's now become an education tool, but ultimately a lead generating tool.
Okay, on the spot, what kind of... you're speaking mostly about LinkedIn here, aren't you? This content was
LinkedIn and
mostly
Twitter.
in Twitter. Okay, so what kind of engagement were you getting on LinkedIn during the event?
I mean, video views in the thousands, I think, our most popular one at the time, and during the month after, got up to 28,000.
Yeah, but I know why. I know why that did. Because it got shared by the event itself, didn't it?
It got shared by the event, and again, we made sure that that content was shareable.
Yeah, because it was generic. It wasn't a sales pitch. It was explaining something about blockchain.
Yeah.
And that's one of the keys to this, isn't it? You're not, all right, the guys are on stand selling,
Yeah.
but the content we put out has to be interesting to, every Tom, Dick and Harry that's there, really, doesn't it?
It was, these videos were designed to be an education. So if you are looking at blockchain, or if you're looking at any solution that's being sold, it could tip the balance for you saying, I want this. Or if you're just dipping your toe into a new subject, it creates that interest. At no point did we say, now come buy our solution. It was never about that. It was merely to educate the market about, we're here. This is how these types of solutions can benefit any industry, help any industry innovate. And it was interesting. Even if you're not a tech buff, it was interesting stuff, especially because the UAE has a blockchain strategy.
Yeah. It was a bit of a theme at that event.
Yeah.
There was a lot of blockchain. There were a few blockchain companies, but there was also some of the bigger organizations, the telecoms organizations that had a blockchain element to it as well. So it was obviously one of the buzz terms at GITEX. Okay, so GITEX is gone. Next week we have
Downtown Design.
Oh, we've got two next week.
We've got two next week. Busy.
Okay.
We've got Downtown Design.
So who have you got at Downtown Design?
So we're doing Preciosa Lighting.
Right.
We did them last year as well. This is our second year in a run. And
What do they do?
they do...
Okay, go on. What do they do as well, yeah?
A bit of background.
Yeah.
What they do is gorgeous. They do Bohemian crystal light fittings.
Right.
And last year, massively successful, in part because the installation they brought was quite literally breathtaking, an interactive installation called Breath of Light that moved when you blew on it. But they were concerned because while in Europe they are very, very well known, big company with lots of awards, they wanted to make that kind of impression in Dubai.
So pure brand awareness exercise here.
Brand awareness, and also to introduce the creative directors to this region. They're based in the Czech Republic.
Okay, so it was successful last year. That's why they've come back and they've done exactly the same. It's the same marketing remit as last year.
Exactly the same. They want to change nothing.
So what is the marketing remit?
So a month before we put the plan in place and we started to contact the media, letting them know what they would be seeing. Again, it's a press release going out on the day of the event, but we've also sent quite targeted media invites. We really want to get the media down to the stand because there is going to be nothing better than that original content. And we're also looking at interior design and fashion influencers on this because they're going to come down and it's so Instagrammable. And last year we did get the hashtag Preciosa Lighting trending, which was amazing. And people were talking about it.
I remember that now.
And we got a front cover on a lifestyle tabloid.
That's awesome.
And then people wanted to come down and see it. So we're doing exactly the same this year. It's a different installation. It helps us that it's the region's debut. Never been to the Middle East before. It's only ever been exhibited in Milan. Press release will go out.
There's interviews organised.
Interviews are already organised. We've already confirmed 12, but we're hoping to break the record last year, which was 22.
I'm pretty amazed that you can get 12 journalists to come and speak about lights and do interviews
on
lights.
We've sent them a teaser picture of what it is.
You sold me, now I want to see the lights more than I did before.
Anyone who wants anything to put on their Instagram, go to the stand. It's
Okay.
phenomenal.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you know, this time they have a very solid social media team in place.
Already.
And it's a global social media account.
Okay.
They will be handling that, but we will do what we did last year. We will suggest trending hashtags.
Okay.
We'll let them know what people are talking about specifically. Okay. We'll give them advice on when's the best time to post.
Okay, so it's a little bit more than just we're not just doing
No.
the press release.
No.
Okay, good.
And then we'll be there for the day with them, you know, guiding those media interviews.
Are we doing video or photography?
We're not. They hire, he's a professional architecture interior design photographer, and he travels the world with them.
Okay, so what else is next week? There's another big event next week. It's the biggest oil and gas event in the side of the world.
This side of the world, and I think potentially with the additional space, it may be in the world this time.
Okay.
In terms of square meters and football.
Okay, and is it just we've got two clients down there?
Two clients there, both doing very different things. We have a pure oil and gas major, global company with a big operation here in the Middle East. They have been exhibiting since the beginning of the show. They go every single year, but this will be the first year we're actually working with them on the show. And then we have the same blockchain company.
Because they need to get into the big governmental gas companies.
Exactly, and also for the first time this year, ADIPEC has a digitalization zone.
Okay.
All of the big IT giants, all in one place, looking at what they can offer into the sector.
Okay, so to sum it all up, event marketing is often left to the last minute, which is not the end of the world as long as they do it. But it's very, very valuable because?
If you look at the people who may visit your stand, let's say you have a fantastic show and 2,000 of them come to you.
Yeah.
The event marketing you do will amplify all of that content tenfold.
But still to a relatively targeted audience.
You know, it's going to be the
LinkedIn.
people who are interested in that event,
Yeah.
in that subject, in that industry.
LinkedIn and Twitter generally are
LinkedIn, Twitter, media, video that you put on your website. You know, we always want to drive traffic to where you live. You own that content. You can repurpose that content. You can use that content again and again and again. And you get so much more mileage when you plan it and you execute a integrated plan before, during, and after event.
Sounds good to me. So anything else we need to speak about events or event marketing? Or I think we've summed it up. We'll keep it succinct.
I mean, one thing that I do want to say, I know that we focused very heavily on exhibitions here.
Yeah.
The same rules apply to events.
Same principles.
I know that, we've got a lot of shows going on where there are maybe pre-parties, after parties. These principles can be applied.
There's
100%.
There's two ways to look at event marketing. There's marketing an event, and there's marketing from an event, outward when you're exhibiting as well. So I think we'll stick to the exhibitions just now. What we've spoken about so far is really relevant because we're right bang in the middle of all the big ones here. And UAE is an amazing place for these exhibitions. But it is nice when you go along to them and you see our clients, with the video around them, with the journalists waiting for an interview. It's reassuring in the work that we're doing.
Yeah, and the results speak for themselves. And we're hoping that all of our clients will go in that direction when they see the results that can be achieved.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.